Hello all. Today I'm going to explain how to solve both of the puzzles that came with the Summer Curiosity Stream box. I got the Curiosity Stream box for my 4 and 6 year old. I wanted to expose them to science. It's a great box. There's a lot of things they love, like the magnetic putty and stuff. Realistically, these puzzles are probably a bit ahead of even where my 6 year old is. But I do want to be able to show them how they work so that I can get those gears moving and have them trying to figure out the mechanics of it. And I'm the kind of guy, these puzzles aren't too hard for me in particular. I like these, whether they're the horseshoe in the ring or the spring on the ring or the bent nails. I like physical puzzles. Um, if you ask my wife, I'm sure she would tell you I'm not at any risk of being mistaken for a genius. But I am stubborn as hell when it comes to understanding something that initially perplexes me. So I spent I don't know, probably a half hour on the what I call the snake block puzzle, and probably close to an hour on what I'll call the stick block puzzle. You'll see what those are eventually. Um, I originally I couldn't get the stick block one when I gave it a half hour a try, so I put it back in the box, and it had kind of been bugging me that I couldn't get it. So I originally tried to cheat, and I looked on YouTube, and there's no videos that I saw that told you how to get it. I think there's one on what we're calling the snake block, the cube puzzle. I didn't watch it. I already know how to do it, but I think I did see one on that. But anyway, yeah, the whole point is to know how to do it so you can show your kids so that they can get interested. And if we're wondering, sorry about my hand, here's what we're talking about. We've got the snake block, we'll call that the cube puzzle, and then the stick block. I don't know, I'm making these names up. If somebody's got a better name for them, let me know. That's awesome. Anyway, let's go ahead to the snake puzzle here. So I will set it up like this so that we can see what's going on here. Just a block. All the blocks are connected with an elastic string. As with all puzzles, they're a lot easier to take apart than they are to put together. Um, with this one, you can either do it from one end or the other. I'll show you both. But this one is not particularly too hard to understand. It's just that there's a lot of permutations, and as you do each permutation, your perspective for the next permutation kind of shifts, and it's kind of hard to predict the next movement on it. It's not that rough, but the main thing is that it's a cube of 3 by 3 by 3. So you have to make sure that each time you make a new line, it's got 3 blocks in it. If you get a line of 4, well, you've messed up. If you get a line of 2, well, that that actually has compounded your complexity, because both the previous and the resulting manipulation could be wrong technically. But I'll show you how I do it. Like I said, I flatten it out first. I'll show you the way I figured it out first. I think it's the harder way, but we'll show you anyway. Um, so we go with the one that has 3, 3, 3. That'll make an arch. Then you can fold that arch around and you get a line of 3 right here. You fold this up. You've got 2 sets of 2, which luckily will tuck right in. And when you do that, you've got a set of 3 that comes across the top. I realize I don't have the best. I should probably have something over top to show this, but this is the best I can do with my phone. Anyway, once you do that, you've got a line of 3 that can come down. Now, here's what you end up with. As you can see, there's a cavity in here. And the goal is to flip this over and turn that so that you have 2. Yeah, let's try and keep them all straight. So that you have 2 rows of 3. There we go. And here, there you can see the cavity. Once you get to that point, you can stick those 2 rows of 3 inside the cavity. Should be able to anyhow, if you've got it set up right. There we go. Now you can see those 2 rows that came all the way through. And once you're done with that, the rest is pretty easy. You can tilt that over, tilt this up. And come across the top, you've got a cube. I'll show you the other way, just for shits and giggles here. This next way, personally, for me, is easier because you don't have to tuck those 2 rows of 3 in. You kind of start with that and build around it. So anyway, if you start with this side, you can tuck 2 of those around. I'm doing the best I can with my phone camera work here. And then you can send a line of 3 out of there. And then there's another line of 3 that comes back right underneath it. Those are those ones you have to tuck the other way. But once you do that, you can flip this piece up and flip this piece around. Once you do that, this next part's pretty easy. You've got a line of 3 you can go up and a line of 3 that you can go across with. Then you come to this, and if you can pull it down, you'll notice you have your zigzag 2s, or whatever you want to call them. You can push that in so that tucks in there. Once you do that, you have a line of 3 that can come across the bottom, a line of 3 that can come up the side, a line of 3 that can go across the top, and then one that goes down, and you have a cube. So that's the snake puzzle. Personally, this one's not too tough for me, but I've seen plenty of friends and family members that got a little infuriated with it, so why not show that one? This one is our next one. We're going to call this the stick block puzzle. Again, if you've got any better names for it, let me know. I have no idea what this is actually called. But this one was definitely a little bit harder for me. And one of the reasons why it's hard is because it can fall apart easily, and the second it falls apart, if you can see how it comes apart, you have an idea of how it goes together. But when you're trying to get it apart, it comes apart quickly, and if you're not paying very close attention, it makes it tougher. Anyway, so we'll start by taking it apart, but one thing you can notice right off the bat is that you'll see when we take this apart, you can't see any of the cutouts. So that means all of the cutouts are on the inside. And as a matter of fact, if you take the central vertices of all of these blocks, they all point inward and form, I think it's a 24-sided figure. I don't know. Check my math. Fight me. I don't know. Anyway, but the fact that you can't see them from the outside, that tells you how the stick blocks should be positioned. So that takes a lot of the permutations out of this kind of puzzle. And tells you how each piece individually should face. I originally thought that when I couldn't figure it out, that one piece had to be rotated. But turns out that knowing that all of the central vertices converge at a central point, that's the key to the puzzle, and you don't need to rotate anything. I will tell you that there's a couple clues on this. One is that if you pinch it tight and you try and take a piece out, you will notice you can't remove any of the pieces. What that tells you is that the key to this puzzle is your tolerance. If these pieces fit together perfectly, there'd be no way to take them apart or put them together. So it's the slight tolerance that allows you to do that. I can tell you that gravity works against you on this puzzle, but once you realize the secret, it's not too hard. Like I said, having it together and being able to take it apart slowly helps. But if you've already taken it apart, which it usually falls apart when you take it out of the box, that negates that option. So we'll show this, and I will try to do this on my phone. We'll see how well it works. But you can start by grabbing this piece, and this piece, and pulling it diagonally this way. And when you do that, you will see that if you do it gently, the puzzle comes apart. And you have your 6 blocks. Now, there's 2 red blocks. If you need a primer to know where something is, that could come in handy. I personally think the red blocks are a hindrance, because I've seen plenty of people that think the red blocks are the key to the puzzle. They're literally all the same. There's nothing different between any of these blocks. And I put it together every way. So we'll start and we'll see how good you can get a view with this camera. All right, we're going to start with what I would call 2 columns. 2 pieces that are sticking straight up. Once you do that, you can take, and remember, all of the central vertices need to be pointing towards the center. That'll help you through this whole process. So when you do that, all of those central vertices should be pointing right in on each other. You can take this one, you won't be able to see it too good, but I'm just going to put it in the back the same way. If you have the puzzle, which I'd assume you do if you're watching this video, it'll make good sense if I don't drop everything first. There we go. Now we have all of those pieces. We have 2 columns holding this one on the bottom together and one in the back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to assemble these other 2 again so that the 2 vertices are all facing towards the center. I'm not sure how good I can show this, but good enough. And when you do that, here's the key. So I'm right-handed. That means this is the further away piece. This further away piece has to move in order for me to complete the puzzle. I tried many times to, and I was actually able to brute force the puzzle and just push it in at some point. I don't think that's how it's supposed to be done, but it helped me get it together so I could figure out how to take it apart. Anyway, this piece should end up spitting out, coming up, and setting back down. And that's all because of the geometry of how all of these triangles faces are going to work together. And the other problem with this is that because they're all sheer surfaces, they try to spit out on each other. But if you take this piece, like so, everything's pointed in, and you make sure that this outer piece, let me see if I can, this outer piece wraps around the outside of here. That's what you need to make sure. If you can get that to grab that face, even though it's going to push out. Yeah, I'm not going to completely redo the whole video, but let's try one more time. I'm struggling with being able to do it right-handed and show it on the video. Anyway, so now we're set up again. You want this corner to grab the outside edge of this. And what I'm going to do is hold these two blocks. And as I do that, I'm going to put this in at an angle this way. And as I do that, it's going to push this block out with the side of this block. But if you've done it right, it will pull it right back together when you're done. And you do want to try to keep them from twisting like that. That's the death nail of this. But if we keep them together, I don't know why I did a how-to video and then messed it up a couple times, but such is life. If you keep them together, you should be able to make them come together. If you pinch any two pieces, the puzzle won't come apart. If you don't, then you can take two pieces off and the puzzle will come right apart. But we'll show one last time here. You have a bottom piece, a back piece, and two what I would call pillars. Then you put these two pieces together so that their vertexes are both pointed inwards. Hold these two. You know that's going to spit out, but if you don't let it go too far and you push back in, then you've solved the puzzle. I guess that's all the limited knowledge I have. So anyway, good luck with the puzzles, and if you figure them out, then I guess your in-laws are going to have a whole lot harder time calling you stupid or something. But good luck. We'll see you.